So, yesterday we started lesson 3, example 1. Now we're going to go on to example 2, which is this. So the question is, find the shaded area of the following figure. Find the shaded area of the following figure. Now, if you take a look at this one in here, the way you would probably see it is that you have a rectangle. You have a rectangle, and then somebody just punched a hole inside it, right? And then the remaining shaded is the one that we are looking for. That's the area that we're looking for. Okay? So, because somebody has like punched those two circles on there, so it's the same thing, or you can think of it as, I'm going to start with a rectangle and I'm going to take those things out, and then what remains is the gray part. Okay? So, starting off with area of rectangle. Okay? So, area of a rectangle, how can we figure out the area of a rectangle? What's the formula for the area of a rectangle? So, area is length times width, okay? Or base times height, right? Let's do that. Length. Okay, well, this one here is pretty clear that the length is 20. The length is 20. That one's pretty obvious. Now, the width. This is supposed to be the width, but how do we know what the width is? Can you think about what? You divide by 2, okay? Yeah. What makes you think that?
I don't know.
It just makes sense, right? Just remember. Yeah, okay. So here we go. If this is all the way from 20, then that means this is from here to here is also 20, yes? So that means this is 10, and then this is also 10, yeah. This is 10, and this is also 10. What do you call this length here? We talked about this yesterday. This is called the diameter. Yeah, the diameter is from one end to the other. That's the diameter. Now, the diameter can be measured this way, right? But another thing that too is that the diameter is from one end of the circle to the other end of a circle. That's also a diameter, right? So that means this is 10. If this is 10, then this is also 10. This is also 10. Okay? So we have to look around and see what kind of clues we can get to get that number. So length times width is 20 times 10. So the area is 200. And that's because we're talking about area, so it's going to be 200 square meters or meters square. Okay, so that's the area of a rectangle. Now, we have two identical circles, so we're going to figure out the area of one circle. So area of one circle. So how can we figure out the area of a circle? What formula are we going to use? Okay, you go over here. Circle. Area formula is pi r squared. Pi times r squared. So you got the formula going there. Pi times r. What's the r for these circles? It's going to be 5. 5 squared. Okay? If the diameter is 10, then that means the radius is only half of that, which is 5. So pi times 5 squared. So So let's go ahead and calculate that piece. Pi times we get 70 something. 78. So 78.54. Okay. So now that we have figured out one area of this circle that got, punched out of this rectangle, what's the remaining shaded piece? So area of shaded part. So we started off with the whole thing, a whole rectangle, so it's going to be 200 minus one circle is 78.54, and then another circle is 78.54. So 200. What's the other way of doing this? Yeah, you could double up the 78.54 and then subtract it off from there. So it's going to be now the leftover shaded area is 42.92 meters square, or square meters. Is that okay? So 42.
200, 2 times your minus? Or?
Yeah, you're gonna take away, because like imagine you started off with a circle, a rectangle rather, and then you cut off the circle. You take off the circle, and then what remains is this part here, right? So you're taking it away. So subtracting them.
Because of circle is 2.
Yeah, because there are two circles, so you gotta
Okay.
subtract
If
2.
you one circle is just only minus 1.
Correct. Yeah. That's correct.
53, 3 times minus.
If it's 3 circles, then yeah, there'll be 3 holes. Yeah. Okay. Were you here yesterday? No. I ran out of books, so yesterday we did this part here. Now we're just continuing on this piece. Okay, so far so good. Now let's go to the next example. This part. Okay, so find the area of this shape. What can we do here? What can we do here? This is kind of almost a circle, right? Can you see it's almost a circle? It's just that 1/4 of a circle is gone. 1/4 of circle is gone. Okay. How do I know it's 1/4? How do I know it's 1/4?
Because you can
This is a
divide
half
a
and
circle even when you work.
4 parts, yeah. Yeah, so absolutely. So this is a circle, and if I kind of divide it in 4 equal parts, this 1/4 is taken away, okay? So if 1/4 of the circle is gone, what fraction remains?
3/4.
Yeah, 3 out of the 4, 3/4 of circle remains. Okay, so what can we do? Let's first find out the area of whole circle. Okay, so what's the formula for area of a circle? A equals to pi r squared okay. So in this case here, they're saying that this is 5, so that is that a radius or a diameter? Radius. That's a radius. So that's already the radius. We don't have to cut it in half. So pi times 5 squared. Oh, we got an answer for that, didn't we? 78 point. Let's recycle the question. 78.54. 78.54 what? What unit would this be? Okay, what is that symbol? Inches. Inches square. Inches square. Now that 78.54 inches square is for the whole entire circle, right? But this is not the entire circle. That's only 3/4 of a circle. So 3/4 of circle. Okay, let's see here if we can remember way back in the days. Okay, so when we took a look at the fraction, we said 3/4. What does the of mean? Times. So 3/4 of means times of the area of a circle. Area of a circle is 78.54. So it's 3/4 of a circle. We're only taking that portion of a circle, not the whole thing, but just 3 out of the 4, 3/4. So do that. Try that out. So 3/4 times 78.54. 58.91. Okay, and we're still talking about the area, so inches square or square inches. Is that okay? Is that fine? Yeah.
Why do we bring just 78 here? Well, this one is different circles, or this one was intended. So why do we bring it here on this example 3?
Come again. I'm sorry. I'm not sure what you're asking.
It's asking another question.
Why do we bring it here on example 3? Why we multiply?
Right here?
Yes.
Oh, because this is for the whole circle. This is for the whole circle. If you have the whole thing, if everything is here, that's the area of the whole circle. But this one is not the whole circle. It's only this part, right? It's only part of the circle. So we look at this one, and here we said, okay, this is not the whole circle. This is only 3/4 of a circle that we're interested in. This is only 3/4. So this is a quarter. You can't see that. This is a quarter of a circle, and then here's the other quarter of a circle, and here's the other quarter of a circle. So you have 3/4 of the whole thing. So we're only interested for the area of just the 3/4 of a circle. Was that your question? Yeah? So that's why we go 3/4 times that area. Yeah? Okay, good. Okay, let's take a look at number 4.
In this formula, where is 5 squared?
Where is the 5 squared? Right here.
Of 5 squared, yeah.
Oh, when you look at this formula sheet, this is on page 15. So area of a circle, this is area is equals to pi times r squared. So r is the radius. So when you look at this one here, well, let's take a look. Radius is from the center to the edge of a circle. So that's a radius. So they're saying in that question, the radius is 5. So you go pi r squared, that's the formula that we're going to use. And then here, this is the radius of a circle from the center to the edge. Yeah, from the center to the edge. So you substitute that 5 in. Did I answer your question? Yep. Okay. Is that good? Can we go on to the next example? Example 4, putting it all together. Find a shaded area. Okay. Well, what do you see here? You see half a circle. See half circle. Okay. Now, if we're gonna take a look at the half a circle, okay, that's a portion of a circle. We have to figure that out. And then this thing is, this part is a rectangle, but we are only interested on the shaded part. So what can we do?
The two takes are same.
So what we could do is we could pretend that this is the whole rectangle. Okay, we could pretend that this is the whole rectangle, and then we're not interested in this part, and then we're gonna take this part away. Take that part away. So look at the whole rectangle and then take away the triangle piece. Okay, let's give it a try. Let's start off with the half a circle. Half a circle. So area is equals to pi times r squared. Oh, we gotta figure out if this is a whole circle, what do you think is the radius? 2. Okay, so area is equals to pi times 2 squared. Let's go figure that out. That's going to give us the whole circle, right? The whole circle. That becomes 12.57 miles squared, square miles. But this one is not the whole circle. It's half a circle. We're only interested in a half of that. So half circle. Half. Well, how can you do half? It's 1/2 times 12.57. Okay, this is the same thing as dividing it by 2, right? So dividing it by 2, so that's 6.28. So 6.28 square miles. Okay. So 12.57 something 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 but we're only taking half of that, so it's 6.28.
We need to round up because there's a 5 after the 8. That's what I'm getting on my calculator.
12.57 divided by 2, you like that? 2.9, okay. Okay, we're gonna get into thing here.
So would you round up or just leave it?
I think leave all of these decimals as is, because this is really not the final answer. So we'll, yeah. Is that okay? Because that's what I did. I kept all the decimals here first, because that's not our final answer, and then times it by half. Okay, so that's that part. We've just figured out half a circle. Now we're gonna take a look at this one here. Let's take a look at the whole rectangle. Whole rectangle, that's gonna be length times width. So length would be 4 times width is 7. It's gonna give us 28 square miles. MI is miles. It's exactly 28. Now we have to get rid of this part here. The triangle. Okay. So what's the formula for the triangle?
1/2 base times height.
Yeah, 1/2 times base times height. So 1/2 times, what's the base of this triangle?
4 cubed.
1/2. 2 times height is 7. So 1/2 times 2, cancel, so that's equal to 7. Okay, so what are we trying to figure out in here? Find the shaded area. So total shaded area. So we want to count the half a circle. So 6.28. We're gonna count the rectangle piece in here, which is 28. But then we're also gonna take this piece out, which is 7. Okay, so this is a half a circle. This is the whole rectangle, but then we're taking away this portion in here, the triangle. So 6.28. So it's gonna be total of 27.28 square miles. Is that okay? Is that making sense? Not yet? Okay.
So 28 is the whole rectangle?
28 is a whole rectangle. So if you take a look at this one, this whole thing is 28, but then we're taking this part out, so minus 7, so that's 21. Right? So that's this part here. This is the 6.28, and then this part is 21 miles squared. Square miles squared. So if you add them together, that's going to give us a 27.28. So far, so good? Yeah. Okay. Now, we just finished the lesson 3. Okay, so yesterday we did 2 and then a little bit of part lesson 3. Now we just finished lesson 3. Yeah, of course, yeah.
that's 1.5.
This one?
The rectangle is, that one, let me show you. This one.
Different is
Oh, that's this part.
how you know that part is half of rectangle.
Oh no, that's the formula for the rectangle. Yeah. The formula for
Give me 2 minutes.
rectangle. Yeah, I'm just gonna answer his question. So Sadi, so if you look at this one here, this is the formula. 1/2 base times height. And the base is 2. The height is 7. Yeah. Okay.
No.
20. I got it.
I think the only thing that we're gonna do today is we're gonna do lesson 4 example 1 because it's a longer example. Okay, is everybody okay with this one? Can I take it away, or still somebody copying?
Where is 20? 20.
28. This one?
28 minus 7.
Oh, which one's 28? The 28 is this whole rectangle. That's the whole rectangle.
Oh.
When we write lengths times widths, is it bring any difference if we change the number?
Oh no, it doesn't. It doesn't. So you're saying like instead of 4 times 7, you can go 7 times 4? Yeah.
That one is 8 or length?
Length times width.
8.
Or base times height. They're the same thing. Okay. Any other questions? Are you okay with that? Okay, let's take a look at lesson. Now, this one is a long one. It looks like it's not super big, but it is a big question. Okay, so here it is. This is where we're gonna apply all that stuff. So most costs are provided per unit. You mean per box or per can? You are not allowed to purchase part of the box or a can. So if you're trying to paint something and you need paint, you can't buy half a can of paint, right? So this means you must round properly in accordance to the situation. Any questions that contains the price plus tax, it means, or plus PST or GST, you would require to include the appropriate taxes in a final cost. So we'll talk about that. So in Manitoba, the cost for PST is 7% and then 5% for GST. So if it says here, no tax calculation is required, okay. If it says taxes are already included, then you don't have to include it anymore. That's just a preamble. Okay, example 1. So we plan to tile a basement floor with ceramic tiles. Okay. Now before we said that, when we're tiling a basement floor, what are we trying to do? Are we talking about perimeter or area? Okay. When we're tiling is inside the 2D shape, right? That's what tiling is. So we're going to talk about the area there with large ceramic tiles. The tiles that you have chosen are 2 feet on each side. So 2 feet on each side. Okay, wow, that's a big tile. You will need to buy 10% more than you actually need, okay? Because when we cut a tile, if you have a broken tile, cutting corners, that's why we need to buy a little bit more than what we actually need. Tiles are sold in boxes of 12 for this much tax, or $65.99 plus taxes. So you also plan to install a baseboard. So this part here is the area. What about baseboard? Perimeter. Because the baseboard is along the side, the outline of the room, right? So the baseboard costs 73 cents per linear foot, per foot. You also need to purchase 10% more than what you actually need. And then now we're going to figure out the total cost. So this is a lengthy question. I think we have time to do this. Okay, so let's start with tiles. Tiles. Now, when we said we need tiles for this, we need to figure out the area that we need to tile this. So, okay, tiles. What's the area of this shape? How can we figure out the area? What we could do is we could break it up into 2 parts, right? So the area of this and the area of that. I'll write it over here so that it's pretty clear. Area is length times width. Okay, what's the length of this one? I'm already pointing at it. 19, right? What is the width? What is this width?
25.
How do you know it's 25?
15 plus 10.
Yeah, so 15 and 10, that will give us 25. So yeah, so 19 times 25. So the area of this part here is 19 times 25. So it's going to be 475 square feet. Okay, so far so good. So that's not too bad. Now what about this part here, this area? What's the length times width? What's the length? What's this length?
No, that is 11.
Okay, that's a good question, right? Because we don't know what the width this one is, right? 19 plus something will give us 40.
21.
So 19,
21.
Yeah, 21.
yeah, 21. Yeah, that's okay. 21. Yeah, 21 times the width,
15.
15, right? 21. So the area of this part here is 21 times 15. So 315 square feet. Now, so how much is the total area? So total area
790.
is 475 plus 315
790.
is 790 square feet. Okay, so the area that we're gonna lay tiles on is 790 square feet. Now, what we need to do is we need to figure out, well, how many tiles do we need to cover that? How many tiles do we need? Now, before we do that, we're gonna make sure that we give extra 10%. Okay, so now I'm going to show you something that we may not have seen before. Maybe some of you have seen before though. Okay, so we need to purchase get 10% more. Okay, so this is the 100% of the area, but if we want to get 10% more, that's basically 110%, correct? Right? This is the 100% of the area, but we're gonna give extra 10%, so that's 110% more. So it's gonna be 790 times 110%. Okay. Well, 110%, the word percent means per 100. So 790 times 110%, that's the same thing as 1.10. So that's the same thing as 790 times 1.10 or 1.1. So really what we need to purchase is 869 square feet of tiles. Okay. Now the question is, how many tiles is that? Well, when each tile, okay, that's why I said this is a really lengthy one. Each tile is what area? How much does it cover?
2 feet.
Cover, each tile is 2 feet by 2 feet. So what's the area of a tile? 2 feet by 2 feet would be 4 feet. So a tile would be 2 feet, 2 times 2, that would be 2 times 2, so 4 square feet.
Sorry, teacher.
Yes.
Why did you didn't take 790 times 10 divided by 100?
100.
It says 10%.
Yeah, 10% more. So this one here is the 100%
Yeah,
coverage
100.
of the floor,
Yeah.
right? That's 100% coverage of the floor, but we need to buy 10% more. So plus 10%, that makes it 110%. Is that okay?
Okay.
Yeah?
So 100% is 719. That is 700. That is 100%.
Yeah. That's
So
100.
We need to buy more than that.
Yeah.
Also a 10%.
10% more.
that.
Yeah.
So why we should not take 1900 times 10 divided by 100, and the answer we get there, we will add
Okay.
on that.
Oh, we get the same thing. So let's try that. So 790
Yeah.
times 10%, right? So that's 10 divided by 100. So it's 79. So that means we need to buy 79 square feet more.
Yeah.
So 790 plus how much we have to buy is 869. So it's the same number. That's yeah. That's another way. You found another way.
Hmm?
So is it okay?
It's
Yeah,
okay now.
perfect, good. So now each tile covers 4 square feet, right? This is where we left off. Okay. So one tile covers 4 square feet, and then this is where solving of equation comes in. Okay. So one tile per 4 square feet. Okay. So one tile per 4 square feet. How many tiles do we need? How many tiles, X tiles, do we need to cover 869 square feet? So this is a proportion, right? One tile can cover 4 square feet. Then how many tiles do I need? So there's our question. To cover 869. Can you see tile in the numerator? feet in the denominator. Yeah, so we're gonna cross multiply, right? Cross multiply to solve for x. So that becomes 1 times 869 is 869 divided by 4. Ooh. 217.25 tiles. Okay, that's a problem, right? That's a problem because technically you cannot buy 217.25 tiles. Right? So what would be the appropriate thing to do?
218.
So we could round it off to 218 tiles, right? Because you can't go to the store, to Home Depot, and ask for a 0.25. We have to round it up. This is where appropriate rounding comes into mind. I mean, I think we might be able to get away with 217
Yeah.
because later on we're gonna buy it per case, right? Because it says here, oh, wrong way, per case of 12. Okay, so this is another thing. We're gonna need about 218 tiles. Well, the question is, how many cases is that, right? So how many cases? Okay, what we're gonna do is we're gonna do a proportion again. So it's gonna be 12 tiles per case, per one case, and then we have 218 tiles that we need. So how many cases is that? So how can we figure out how many cases do I need to get that? Yeah, we're gonna cross multiply again. So x times 12, so 12x equals to 218. Divide by 12, divide by 12. Now the problem again comes into mind here. You're gonna end up with buying 18.17 cases. Now can we buy 18.17 cases? Okay, so how can we, well, we can't buy 18.17 cases. The appropriate thing to do is to round it up to 19 cases. Okay. If it's gonna cost us 19, if it's gonna be 19 cases, how much would that cost us? Okay. They didn't give us enough room in here, so I'm gonna go back up in here. So we need 19 cases. Okay. So the cost would be 19 times, how much is a case? $65.99. 19 times $65.99. $1,253.81. How can we do the taxes?
Plus
Times 1.12. Okay, so the reason why we're timesing by 1.12 is because we want to pay for 100% of this and an extra 12% tax. So times 1.12 to account for taxes. So $1,404.27. 27
That's
cents.
65.99. That is one box or one.
One box. Yeah.
Are sold in boxes of 12. Or that's 12 means
12 tiles in one box.
Are we looking at this one here?
no. Reading that
This one?
yeah, the 12 means
Oh, this one here is 1.12. That means
no.
the taxes.
It's not that. It means that it means in English.
Okay.
So I don't know how to say NOC in English.
Okay, try French.
This one. This one.
Oh, 12. Yeah.
Yeah, I say I'm reading.
Yeah.
So
So in here they said the tiles are sold in boxes. So in a box, there are 12 tiles inside. Yeah, tiles are sold in boxes of 12. So there are 12 tiles in here.
maybe 12 bucks for tax price.
Oh no, no. Oh no, not 12 boxes. Yeah, that would be cheap. Yeah. Okay? So I think I'm gonna stop right here. We're not done with this one here because we still have to do the perimeter part. So we'll leave it to that. That's a long one. Yes. The problem is to understand the question.